Hey, hello, and welcome to another episode of Build on Open Source. This is a very special episode because we had an episode last Friday as well. So we're doing back-to-back this week because of an enforced gap we had the week before. So welcome to Build on Open Source. We usually come to you every 2 weeks, but we're a show that covers all the new and exciting updates from the open source community. Coming to you live from twitch.tv/AWS. And my name is Derek. I am a developer advocate in AWS. And I'm joined by my lovely friend, Ricardo. Ricardo,
Thank you, Derek. Hello, everyone. Yep. Yes, I'm Ricardo. I'm also a developer advocate, and I am streaming from another exotic location today. Last week, it was Dublin. This week, it's Manchester. And the sun is shining, so apologies if I'm coming across a little bit stripy. The sun is causing me all sorts of problems this morning, but delighted to be here for the third episode, and we've got a great show for everyone today.
Yeah, awesome. I'm actually home today. So last week I was in Thailand, this week Perth. But as we were saying, Rick, as you're in Manchester, the sun won't stay very long, and so
no, I always bring the sun with me.
You always bring the weather, and soon the sun will go. So that's where we are today. But what about the show itself, Rick? Do you want to give us a quick overview of what we expect today?
Yeah, so for people watching, for people who are just here for the first time, the show follows a similar format. We're going to kick off in a bit with a roundup of the latest open source news. So we'll go through the latest newsletter, which I'm putting together. It's going to be published on Monday, so you get to see it first before anyone else. So we'll do that for about sort of 15 minutes. Then we're going to bring in a special guest, and I'm really super excited about our special guest today. Do you want to mention who our special guest is, Derek?
Yeah, for sure. So today we're going to talk about Cloudscape. I'm going to a fantastic guest, Gethin, who's going to come to us and talk to us about Cloudscape. If you don't know what Cloudscape is and you're a front-end UI developer, then where have you been? It's a new set of libraries that we've released, and Gethin's going to take us through all and tell us all about Cloudscape, which is fantastic. We are live, so this show is even better if you interact with us in the chat. So if any questions about open source on AWS, or indeed the topic that we're talking about today, or any topic that Ricardo is about to go through when he does his news of the week, then please reach out and put in the chat, and we'll have a chat. We love a good chat, don't we, Rick?
We love a chat. And actually, before we go into the next segment, after Gethin, we're going to then do a quick competition time. We've got a challenge for you that might be Cloudscape related, so watch out for that. And then we're going to close up with just sharing links and resources and a few things that we want you to make sure you don't miss out, events and stuff from the newsletter as well. So I think that's what you can expect for the next hour. Really excited. There's lots of great stuff as always. So I think, and like Derek said, we want to hear from you. What are your favorite open source projects? What do you want us to cover? When, as we talk through the newsletter, or as Gethin comes on, share with us your questions. The demo that Gethin is going to share with us later on is going to be awesome. So get your best question heads on, and please interact with us.
Yep. So strap yourselves in. We're about to go to section 1, which is
yes, we are in the newsletter. We are in the newsletter. We are getting good at this, aren't we? Those transitions kill me every time. So I'm going to take you through the kind of latest open source news. I've been putting this together this week. It's going to get published Monday, so you are seeing this before anyone else. And just a reminder, at the end of the show, we are going to share a QR code link, which is a short survey we'd love you to respond to, and you'll get a link to this as well. So you'll get to access all this before anyone else. So let's look at the actual projects. Okay, so this week we've got another great selection of projects, some that I had not seen before, including Guardian. So Guardian, great name for a project. This is a node-based tool, a command line tool that you can actually easily run, and it does a quick check of your AWS environment, and it looks like it does a check against the well-architected pillar. Because if you can see that, I'm not sure, can you see the screen Derek? Is it showing the demo?
I can see. When I first saw this, Rick, I was thinking ASCII art again. Is this another entry into the ASCII art Hall of Fame?
Yeah. You know what? It could be. You know, I hadn't really clocked that, but you're right. ASCII art for the win again. Yeah. Awesome stuff.
We should have a show just on ASCII art. If you didn't see the first episode, check it out. Where you had quite an ASCII art project there as well.
We do. We need to speak to Darko because Darko obviously is the master of the ASCII art. And for those people who haven't heard of the lol banner tool, lol banner is a tool which you can you literally run with a parameter of text, and it creates beautiful multicolored ASCII text banners, and it's awesome. But anyway, we are digressing now.
We are.
but this tool looks interesting, right? And it's a really interesting way of doing a quick check of your environment. And if you read the docs, they show you how you can also embed it into your CI pipeline. So you can effectively, have this as a task that runs that can produce a report. So you can have an ongoing status of how your infrastructure is looking. So I think this is interesting. Definitely check this out. Nice work. I'm not sure how you say your name. Is it Eloy? I think it's Eloy Allen, but I might be wrong. Please forgive me if I got it wrong. Tell me, is it Eloy?
Yeah, because there is this fantastic game called Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation, and the main protagonist there is Eloy, and I think it's spelled the same way, so that's why I'm pretty confident it's Eloy.
Okay, I did not know that. I'm not a big gamer, Derek, so apologies for not knowing that. Okay. Actually, if I do game, it's retro games, not modern games, because the problem is I just lose myself. So I don't know where to begin. I like the simple ones, left, right, fire. That's it. Okay, so next project. We've got the kong-aws-request-signing. Now, for those people who aren't familiar with Kong is an open source API gateway type tool. Super super popular in the cloud native world.
Yeah.
And so it's got a plugin architecture, so you can plug in new features and functionality. And this one, I think this one's actually been done by Lego. Actually, I think I've got it somewhere here.
Really?
Where is it? Yes, because obviously Lego are big on serverless and AWS, and so here is it's from Lego. So I was right.
Nice.
Wow. So this actually allows you to support SIG v4 signing and temporal credentials. So if you're using Kong and AWS, this could be a useful tool for you. And thank you, Lego, for putting that together and sharing it. Now this one, I kind of like this one from Guillaume. I think it's French, maybe. But Cdk Scheduler. So what is Cdk Scheduler? I can hear Derek thinking and asking.
I did. I actually had a look at this. So I read the blog this morning, and this looked very interesting,
cool,
indeed.
This is cool. So if you ever had the need, right, to schedule or schedule your serverless functions, but you wanted to do that via CDK, now you have a construct that makes it easy to do, right? So very nice documentation, very simple to follow. Very nice project that's going to help people do that. And I actually use this myself. I have a little Lambda function that I schedule. I think it's every hour, and what it does is it accesses GitHub and then pulls down all my stats, and allows me to then use CloudWatch Insights to generate dashboards of like activity on my GitHub repos. But I had to do that manually. I had to configure it manually, and now I've got a way of doing that through CDK, which, as people know, I love CDK, so I'm definitely going to be trying this out. So
everybody should love CDK. I think every episode we say the same mantra. Everybody should love CDK.
We do, and also actually, as moving on to the next segue into the next thing, which is terraform-iam-policy. So I'm learning Terraform, okay, and I do like Terraform as well. Now this is an IAM policy script in Python. So what it does, it allows you to actually validate your the Python script that gets created when you do your Terraform plan. And I think I've got it somewhere here, actually. Where is it? Here it is, yeah. So it's an AWS Labs project. You run it as a normal Python script, and the documentation tells you how you can run it, and then it generates output like that. So could be very useful if you're using Terraform. because I'm still learning, I plan to experiment with this and see for it to tell me how bad my Terraform scripts are. But I like that, right? Because it'll help me improve my Terraform script. So very useful, I think. Feedback is always good. Yeah, you know. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that. The next open source tool, again from AWS, is the Zone Aware Controller for Kubernetes. So what this allows you to do is it allows you to make your Kubernetes controllers AWS availability zone aware. And this is important. So as Kubernetes is doing its rollouts, it knows and can minimize any disruption. So that's useful. The documentation goes into lots of detail. Now I'm still getting my head around Kubernetes, so I think this is still too complex for me, for my knowledge. But I think this is an interesting project for those people who are doing a lot of work in Kubernetes. What I'm not sure though, Derek, is I'm not sure how this complements or is different to something like Carpenter, so which is the autoscaler. So I'm not quite sure whether it works with Carpenter or works as a different thing. So if people know, please ask, tell us either in the comments, or if you've got questions on any of these projects I'm sharing, we'd love to hear your thoughts on some of these projects.
Yep. Next
tool is SQL Server Tools. So this is interesting for people who are migrating. Maybe you've got some SQL servers, and as was often the case, those secret SQL servers that were hidden under desks. That's a difficult sentence to say. Secret SQL servers. Yeah, that's a tongue twister if I heard one. This script will actually allow you to scan your network and then detect those. And that's useful, obviously, if you want to migrate them to something like RDS. So, or even if you want to use something like DMS to move them to an open source a database, which we love. We love converting SQL Server databases to open source databases, or even using something like Babelfish for Postgres. I know you've got a lot of love for .NET and that stuff. So I hope I haven't upset you there, Derek.
I do. I'm just also I'm going to stop you there for a minute, Rick, because we've got a few people joining, asking, "What's this all about? What is this show?"
What is it? What are we talking about, Derek?
Can we get a link to this blog? So this is the Build on Open Source show. A lot of S's today. And today we're actually, if you haven't seen the show before, we go through Ricardo's blog, which you're seeing at the minute, which he will release after the show. And what we do, we talk through all of the projects and highlights in the open source world over the last week and a bit. So after the show, we'll give you the link to the blog. You can go and read it at your leisure. But we're just highlighting it before it gets released.
Yeah,
hope that makes sense to everybody.
It does, and also, you can check out the actual blog for all the previous newsletters as well. We're up to 128 now, so if you want to dive deep into the open source backlog, then there's plenty of great content. And the stuff here that we're sharing as well is all new stuff, right? It's not old stuff; it's new stuff that's been released in the last week or so. And typically, we do the show every 2 weeks.
We do.
So good question. So thank you for that question.
We like it. Thank you.
Yes. Any more questions, Derek, before I carry on?
There was cool. We got that's really it. Just questioning what's going on here. Who are these people?
What's going on?
What is that blog? I want that blog. Cool.
Okay, right. So I'm just going to wrap up now before we can move on to the next into the next segment. So just to find a few projects and then some blog posts and events that I want to talk about. So this, the way I structure it in the newsletter is I have kind of tools first, and then I have demo samples. I sometimes get asked, why do you share these? Because they're very AWS specific, and the reason why I share them is because open source has this concept of 4 freedoms, the freedom to study, copy, modify, and edit. And you can learn a lot by checking out the source code from these projects. If you're an AWS user, they're super valuable. They can help you either bootstrap a project, they can help you start as a baseline. And so that's the reason why. And so in this section, we share examples of what I think are interesting projects that people might find helpful as they start doing this themselves. And the first one is the CDK Golden AMI pipeline. So I have actually built something like this in the past, whereby you have a GitHub repository and a pipeline that uses effectively Image Builder to create AMIs that you can then use in your EC2 instances. So this actually has everything you need. So this would have saved me a ton of time if I'd had it. But great. So this is really, if you want to automate and streamline how you build your own images, take a look at this project.
Cool.
I think the only thing I probably didn't see in this project actually, which maybe people might want to take a look at, is Graviton Support. When I did this, I had two pipelines. I had an x86 pipeline and a Graviton pipeline, so that I could build, multi-architecture images. But I haven't checked it, so I haven't tried it. So maybe it does do that, but I haven't tried it. The next project is the Eks Argo Rollouts. So Argo is a CNCF project, I think, that helps you do progressive delivery. So for those people who don't know what progressive delivery, and I'm quite new to this is, and Derek, you might have to correct me if I'm wrong here. This is how you can automate the gradual release of new features into production using techniques such as blue-green, canary deployments, and all this kind of stuff. Very gradual, phased out rollouts. And Argo is really good at doing that, apparently. And so if you want to do that, then here is a sample project for you to try out and see if it works for you.
Yeah, we should almost have a show dedicated to Kubernetes one week.
Well, I tell you what, if you don't know, if people watching don't know this, there is a show called Containers from the Couch that runs, I think it's on Fridays or Thursdays, and the containers team at AWS, they take a look at Kubernetes, ECS, ECS Anywhere, EKS Anywhere, and anything to do with Kubernetes. So I definitely would recommend you check that show out because it's brilliant. There's a great cast of. Yeah, we'll have to share that link in the show notes.
Yep.
The last project this week is AI-powered text insight. So this is a complete sample that allows you to effectively build a sentiment analysis stroke sort of solution to get insights from your social media, so Twitter, for example, and it creates a dashboard for which you can actually do this. And I'm very happy that it uses Hugging Face. We can see the little Hugging Face logo here. We love Hugging Face. Julian Simon, we are not worthy. One of our colleagues. He is now the chief evangelist there. Great guy and doing some amazing stuff with Hugging Face. So if you want to get more insights out of your social media, then why not try this project? And let us know how you get on with it. For people listening, if you try these projects, we'd love to hear your feedback. Were they good? Did they do what you wanted? Did you do anything interesting with them? We'd love to hear from you. So that's a roundup of the projects.
Awesome. I'm
going to very quickly cover a couple of blog posts that I think are essential viewing this week. The first one is this one, the Kyverno and cosign. So within open source, you may hear lots of talk about the supply chain security. And so there are a number of emerging technologies and projects, including SigStore, and cosign is part of that. And so this project talks about how you can embed that within your EKS environment. So definitely worth checking out this because it's a really good primer, talks about some of the basic concepts, and actually then is hands-on so you can actually build something. So definitely check out this post. And so that's all I want to cover for this week. There's lots of other stuff in there. At the end of the show, we're going to wrap up with some of the events that we want you to be aware of. But I think, Derek, we're now ready on for the next segment.
I'm doing multitasking here, Rick. So let's go to our next section. And people are asking, do we have VODs from the last show? So I'll post that in the comments shortly when our guest is speaking. So let's. Before we do the transition, what is the next session? What's happening next? Oh, so next we're going to have Gethin come and join us from Cloudscape and talk to us about all things UI. So let's jump into the next section.
Hey there! Thanks for checking out this video. Remember to give it a like and share with your community. Then hit subscribe and the bell for all the latest content that will help you build on AWS.